Hi there, and welcome back to Spaceblock Episode 5. I'm Icon, and, well, I did a little bit of something between this and the last episode. I created a few more assemblers. I did unholy space magic by leading an underground belt, vacuum of space. Quite impressed by that one. And, yeah, TLDR, I plugged in a second machine like that. Looks pretty ruddy, but works out decently. We are sitting on a supply of 700-ish landfills, and that's what I needed to finally expand. On top of that, I created a few more units of space matter, but we are not really making any too big progress on that department. But that's okay. We collect these on the side. So I have a shortage on iron ore in this regard, so we're going to pick up a couple of those, and let's see how long I can do this. This will be a procedure running in the background for, I don't know, some time, I guess. So material-wise, we are also quite self-sustaining at this point. Everything I need is being produced automatically. My plates, my coals, my landfill. Not yet stone, but that's okay. Stone is something we don't need that often. So today's plans are quite simple. I want to bring up a completely self-sufficient little science array because I figured that science is the next big step ahead. I mean, sure thing, there is the premise of solar energy around the corner. I'm very tempted about that, but not yet. This is something interesting, but I'm way more interested actually in better assemblers and probably also better smelters. Let's see what we can find there, but most definitely interested in better logistics. So whatever we do or don't, green science is something we will need in the next time. Let it alone be the fluid handling technology allowing me to ultimately produce sulfuric acid, which enables me to finally duplicate all the materials. I mean, we already researched steel for the oil duplication, so we could duplicate oil by now, but not the uranium. So I got exactly 4 more units of space matter in my inventory, and too broke of uranium to do anything else besides that. And that's kind of like the problem I'm in right now. So I want to solve these, and this is all done by science. All right, enough rambling. Let's consider which direction to go. So first off, for a certain part of my viewership, I want to do something here. We're going to make things look nicely here, because I now got enough landfill to even out those little areas here and make the whole island look nice. You know, we're after all looking for a tidy and nice approach here to everything, as much as I can. Most of the time I'm wild chaos while building. Oh dear. So the next question besides that, destroy the space magic. The next question besides that is, where will I put the new area for science? Because we need to replicate pretty much everything there, which we did here. Because this little cluster here is self-sufficient. I don't want to go into any of these directions because somehow I already decided that this will be my power production. So let's move our operations down here, I'd say. So first off, we got to produce the boring red science, but this is going to be the easiest part. Oh no! Well, okay. It is as it is. I'll make something useful out of that. Look at this landfill dwindling this friggin' fast. That's why I wanted to produce that stuff as quick as possible in a large scale manner. Okay, so science-wise, let's see. We will put up one of these dudes. There's the magical question for me. how many? I think it was 10. So yeah, we can we can provide for 10 of these machines with one iron gear wheel machine. One of these machines. Wait a sec. We go for this. I want to calculate a little bit how much material I need. So one of these machines can eat 2 iron plates per second, but only if fed thoroughly. So this means if we provide this machine 0.3 metal plates, we get an output of 0.15 iron gear wheels per second, because we can't really fulfill the needs of this thing too well. Okay. With a second one, we would reach 0.6 plates per second, which is, oh, now things are going a little bit more. This is 30% of the total, so this would be 3 iron gear wheels. Okay, so I'd say that's the ratio we're aiming for. So let's build ourselves a little model here to know what kind of items we need. I know I could use Helmod for that, but these are pretty small things. And this means we're going to need 2 coal assemblers to provide the necessary fuel for the smelters. Make that 3 because we need one for the copper as well. How much copper does this machine eat, by the way, if we provide 0.3? Ah, okay. This will end up with exactly the consumption of 1 copper thingy. Okay, so we will need 3 for coals. We will need 3 furnaces. Yes, that's correct. And, well, I'm shying away from using my space matter furnaces right now. Although, why actually? It's a difficult thing for me. They are so rare, yet so effective. So let's say we're going to produce our copper via space furnace. I think that's a good thing to go, because this will work out quantity wise. Okay, so then let's get started. Red signs will be the smaller issue. The green signs will be where I'll hit my limits, I'm afraid. Production-wise, that is. Okay, let's go for another line here and one last. I'm pretty sure I'm running out of blocks now. That's okay. I never know how many units of landfill I truly need for an area before I start building it. But I figured something around 750 should be okay. Okay, now then. I got all the necessary materials here, but let's quickly grab our production of plates here. Because, you know, it's always nice to have a couple of those in your pocket. On top of that, we obviously need a couple of electricity poles, and 1 space matter recipe is on the way. And beyond that, just bootstrap black holes. I really started to spam that as hard as I can while I'm building stuff, because, you know, these items are just too important. Okay, now let's start building. I mean, basically, this is going to be the same thing we did before, just with more organization. So I want to start with the coal production, because this is what we're going to need anyways. So I want to put that somewhere into the vicinity where we are actually already busy with coals. I like to organize things, you know, in a way that they make sense. This should be wide enough. All right, I'll start out here. Yeah, perfect. And we're going to whip it down there. So here we go. Output and input, output, input, output. Here we go. So I'm getting used to the wacky way of producing resources in the Spaceblock mod. So that's really cool. So I want to try this time one thing. Does this thing eventually beat all the other machines, and when? I mean, the answer should be yes. The answer should be yes. Yeah, they start working now. Awesome. So I need to kickstart all the machines. Okay, so we got the necessary colds now. Wonderful. Alright, now we're going to need the iron production and the copper production. So we defined that we want to let 2 furnaces go for iron production. So that means we're going to need 6 assemblers for iron. That's a lot. That's actually a lot. Let's put the iron production over here for now. 3. Well, maybe I'll leave one grid here. 4, 5, 6. So let's pipe it out into this direction. Always keeping the expandability in mind. Give me that recipe. Shift right click and shift left click to those who are asking themselves what the heck I'm doing here. And now let's do the same thing as before. Input and output. Just a little bit more narrow here. Okay. So, yeah, I really start to get used to the Spaceblock style. I just can't wait to make things more efficient. Oh, that was the wrong machine. No! This was the wrong machine to feed first. So, is there any... Oh, here we can pick up some. Need to stop at the bottom. Need to start at the bottom one, of course. You know. Okay, so that's that. We start to overproduce our coals here slowly. Good stuff. Okay. I guess the more iron I put into this equation, the faster the kickstart will begin. But right now, that doesn't matter too much. Okay, so with the actual copper, we can go a lot simpler than that. Here we go. That's all it's going to be needing for copper output and input. The only thing we need extra will be the coals. The coals. So, well, let's use some excessive force. Why not? So here goes copper ore. Here goes a kickstart production-wise. And so we're going to use a few too many belts, okay? So I think, well, I don't know if I really need to expand here. Yeah, let's do it like this. Or, yeah, well, no. I want to organize my pathing right away, already from the beginning. So I don't need to regret anything later. Okay. So now this dude here will perfectly work out fine. Producing the copper ore we need for that operation. And to make things even nicer, we're just going to work like that. Here we go. Beautiful, isn't it? This one just does all the heavy lifting on its own. There we go. I like that belt here. Okay, now the next step is going to be the iron ore, and I realize with everything how it's working out, it's way easier to rewire all of that like this. Ditch the splitter, and we gonna be putting up the splitter rather here. No? Yeah, well, we're gonna do it like that. I like this solution the most. Ultimately, the same thing like I did here. Just gonna take a while until these belts are filled with that kind of coal production. But I really don't want to put in another assembler here, because we're working on a budget power-wise, you know. Okay, but now we can just rewire that like this. And the main idea of that was to provide us with a solution that allows me to do beautiful things like these. I mean, this is all not that super efficient in a small-scale operation. I'm well aware of that. But for my needs for now, it will perfectly suffice. After all, we're kind of like building our starter base right now. That's what we're doing here mostly. At some point later down the road, I will separate copper and iron plate production, of course, from each other, because that's not really efficient to do in the long run. But for now, it's working out really nicely. Okay, how much landfill did we produce in the time? Only 78. Infuriating. But that's okay. We just need that time. I also love to let this save file idle a bit in the background whenever I have some, whenever I want to prepare for a upcoming episode. You know what? My dude, you're going to live here. I want that end of the belt being actually used. Okay, but that also translates into science production. There's everything we need on this one belt. So we're going to put up the iron gear wheel factory over here, and it's going to provide for these two red science packs. It's basically the same thing we had with the lab here, just in a much more elaborated and automated way. The last contraption I built in this manner, in this regard, was entirely semi-automatic, so we did make some progress here. Okay, I'm pretty sure I won't be needing anything else than yellow inserters for that. If this, oops, that's wrong direction. If this would be running under complete pressure, like maximum efficiency, the yellow inserter here on the iron gear wheels would be totally too weak. But that's okay. So that was the easy part, technology-wise, you know? This was the part where we're like, meh, easy peasy. But there is one thing why I wanted to start with that, and that's simply said, I want to be able to have automation science packs in production before I actually do science, because I want to grab a couple and start handcrafting science packs again. Maybe it's a bad habit, but it's a useful bad habit. No, that it's not a bad habit after all. So jokes aside, we got our red science production, and for the time being, I'm going to install a little inserter here, just grabbing casually 2 stacks of that stuff from the belts while we're constructing the green science machinery. I mean, I highly doubt that I have the necessary room to do so, but we do need to calculate first, so there's plenty of time available for the expansion. Because the real interesting part now is that for the green science packs, we need quite complex products. We need transport belts and inserters. The transport belts are the easy part. They're just iron. They're just iron with iron. A transport belt requires me to refine iron and put it together with regular iron. no biggie. The inserter is where things grow more complicated. These electronic circuits need, well, they need us to process copper as well. So we're going to need definitely more production than before. Luckily, I got a new space meta furnace. So you can see here, these things are true godsend. Thing here is, I did one mistake in my calculations in the episodes before. This stuff here does not only produce 6 copper ore, it has also a chance of producing another one on top. This means there is these things do actually produce more than it shows off on the label. I could easily plug in a second stone furnace into this production and it would yield some plates on top of that. TLDR, I want more of them. But how do we accomplish? That's the big question here. So we need to prepare ourselves a bit for that, and we also need to go into some assembler magic to check out how much material we will need for our plans. So let's start out with the transport belt. So this thing could consume an insane amount of 1 iron plate per second. This would be the output of 3 furnaces alone, and we would need to facilitate an output of 1 iron gear wheel per second. We would even need 2 iron plates per second. Comes down to a complete production need of 10 furnaces to produce 3 iron plates per second, which would be 30 assemblers for iron ore, so that's a no-no. Way too big. So let's check out how much transport belt does one of these beasties eat. So 0.03. That's actually not too horrible. And now for the same thing as we had here before. This one is being, what did I say? This produces 0.3 gear wheels while being provided like that. Wait a sec. Something bad here happened. So my procedure actually ran dry. Huh. Uncool. So how the heck did that happen? We need to find out. I mean, I basically did install that many inserters for the input side, or I did install fast inserters for the input side to avoid this phenomenon. But as we see here, it's certainly not enough. I need to coil it one more time. These machines need more time. That's all. I mean, it shows me what I've feared all the time, that these procedures are not really easy to satisfy. Yeah, so what happens here is in the end stage, it's already happening here, so you see, they don't manage to feed themselves. Okay, but I think we can solve that problem by just installing more and more of the same. So we do relay the outputs now. Oh, I see what I did there. I totally, yeah, that's the reason what happened there. They would have worked if I wouldn't have messed up with the inserters. Haha, so let's see. I want to try and fix that without the extra coil, because it should work. So, was not. Okay, so this thing does output here and input here. It's really important that every machine gets to output first and input after. So it gets the opportunity to just grab its own production again and feed itself. This is absolutely vital, so only the overproduction gets spilled out into the furnaces. Okay, we fixed it, I guess. It's okay. So that's what happens when you place down a couple of inserters wrongly. Okay. Oh, for a moment there, I was afraid that my whole procedure was faulty. Imagine, imagine the whole plan on how you produce your basic materials shows some cracks, and it's like, nope, that won't work like that. Gives me a sweaty feeling, but no. What happens now is that this guy will oversaturate himself until he can't store any more of that, and then he will start sharing with the other machines. This procedure takes a while, but once they are there, it's perfectly stable. We already produce a couple of iron plates like that. Okay, I'm chill again. Okay, where were we? The calculations here. So, if I put in 0.6 iron plates into that machine, into that gear wheel machine, I will get 0.3 of these cogs. This would be enough to feed 3 to 4 of these machines. So, we would then produce enough transport belts for 3 to 4 green signs machines. Okay. And we would need to get there 0.3 those and 0.3 of those. So that translates into 4 iron plate smelters for that part of the equation. Okay, let's put that onto the to-do list. So that's the title, Green Science Belts. So we're going to need 4 times iron ore smelter. $12 times iron ore replicator for space matters, if we can provide. Okay, that's really nasty. Okay, but that's all. I mean, no, that's not all. Oh, shoosh. We also need 4 times coal assembler. Oh, man. Okay, so here we go. So how does this work? Details. Ah, here we go. I just wanted to start to put these things out of my mind, you know? It's hard enough to calculate these things once. Now I know what we'll need for the preparation for that department. For some reason, this is more informative for me than these things. Helmod is what I consult when I run out of brain juice to process that stuff in my head. But I like to calculate on my own as well. Okay, so let's get into the inserter recipe. So we're going to see that this is a little bit more complicated. Okay, so we got the necessary parts, I think. Oh no, not more of those. Oh shoot. So, I don't know, the longer I think about it, the more I consider to just run with one of those. So, you know what? We're going to tune down. So we're going to work with only 1 smelter less. So we're going to, well, 1 iron gear wheel assembler per, yeah, that should be okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to feed that that iron gear wheel thingy only 1 furnace, because this is growing too large. So okay, we're going to add 1 new. So green science inserters. Okay, so we already see that we're going to need 1 smelter for the iron plates and 1 smelter for the iron gear wheels if we go for the same procedure. So that means we need 2 times iron smelter, which will bring the necessity of 6 times iron assembler. or 2 furnaces. Let's call them SM furnace. I'm growing lazy here, and 2 times coal, or 4 times coal if we go for the space meta furnaces. That's one thing that I won't be putting up here, because I highly doubt that I will do this with space meta furnaces. Okay, so that's that. But we didn't talk about the electronic circuits yet, so let's get into that topic as well. I mean, these are all vanilla recipes, and the equations are all not new for experienced players. But I really wanted to show a new organizing style of mine and see if this is working out for me. So we're going to need a 3rd iron smelter due to the need of that. And here we go. So we need that for the inserters, and oh boy. So if we cut that production into a 3rd, like we will here, let's see how much copper plate we will need for that. So to produce 0.9 copper cables per second, which is what we will need to keep the relationship between the ingredients stable, we will need, so putting in 0.3 is 30% of that, which is resulting in, oh sheesh, we need 2 smelters for copper plates. Okay. We will overproduce copper this way, but I rather take that over underproducing. So, okay, we will need 2 times copper smelter. That means 6 times copper assembler. And this amps up the necessity of coal to 5. Okay, so this, as we see, green science is with the Spaceblock not that easy. And well, okay. I'd say we're going to be grinding up the necessary materials for that, but at least now I know what I need to bring up. Those recipes are fun to put up, for me at least, and I feel like they are making it way easier for me to pre-produce all the necessary goods and to know when I'm capable of doing the job. Alrighty, friends, so that's that for today. We managed to produce red science in a automatic way, which allows me to produce landfill in my inventory, because we will need way more than that. Okay, so one last thing I will put up into my idle mode before I say goodbye is we're going to bring up the bootstrap black hole assemblers again a little bit more. Just want to showcase what's going to idle here in the background, so I'm going to do this like that. They're not going to receive any output direction or such. I'm just going to loot out of their inventories directly whenever one of them jams. I'll just pick up the things. Okay, so that's that, dear friends. Next episode, I assume that I will be capable of producing the green science as well, and this will really kickstart our development. The only thing I see here already is that we seem to need yet another power upgrade. So looks like my black hole bootstrapping is stressing out my power grid a little bit. So you see, there's always something else. Alright, thanks for watching. Drop your comments down below. Leave a thumbs up on that series to make it more visible to everybody else. And of course, check out the channel. Drop a subscription if you haven't done so. I do daily content. Just turn on the notification bell if you want to stay updated. Until then, have a wonderful time, and see you guys next time. Bye-bye!